Hello, good morning. Welcome to today's class. So today in the video, you may want to grab one or two cushions for something we're going to use to cushion our knee. And ideally to have some wall space nearby, we're going to put part of ourselves up against the wall. If it's a window, it's not too weight bearing what we're doing as well. So that's fine as long as you can get your body next to it, right? Okay, so you can take a minute to grab the cushion, and then when we're ready, we're going to sit and close our eyes. And let's start fresh with ourselves. Same as each day is new, each event is new, each experience has the opportunity to experience it freshly, depending on how you look, how you observe. So let's come fresh to ourselves. Acknowledge what is there, what was past, and start fresh with what can be, working from where we are and from where we were. And recognize that the higher yoga is inclusive of all aspects of yourself. Now, there may be small details in the qualities that maybe sometimes they're hard to work with, right? We can shift our attention elsewhere when it's a lot to process, right? When we're overwhelmed with processing. And that's a good tactic or strategy. But if you keep practicing, if you keep embracing this idea that I'm free in this moment and that I can change the course in which my perception takes me, then we open up a lot of freedom to integrate all the qualities, all the aspects, all the old stories of ourselves, and to turn them into the fuel for a transformational process. Connecting into that feeling that we're always freshly coming back to create the new opportunity. Begin to deepen your breath, starting with the exhalation more complete. Inhale soft and smooth to expand the breath to the belly, the ribs. Expanding as we lift the breath and let it out. A few more rounds of your deepest, slowest, relaxing breath. You may even like to have a small smile at the corner of your lips as you breathe. Bringing love and joy into the relationship with the self. And cultivating forgiveness for those difficult things which we're still holding in us, which we're still yet to fully process or work on. And there's no pressure, there's no necessary stress about that. That's the way it is. There's always something inside that we're holding that can be processed, that can lead us to a greater freedom of perception, a greater freedom of identity. And paradoxically, almost humorously as that goes, oftentimes the more free that that being becomes, the more charismatic they become in certain aspects of personality, quality, or interrelating with another person, or even with their own self inner dialogue. Start with a little gentle stretching from here so you can keep your eyes closed and find your fluid way into side stretching, side bends. You don't even need to open the eyes. Just gently take one arm up and reach over. And you're welcome to flow and change sides. You're welcome to hold on one side. Oftentimes, especially for a morning practice, it is nice to start with at least gentler or maybe slower, and maybe just coming in and out of the pose before holding the pose. Just try to keep that same depth of your breath. Feeling how your breath fills each part of the body from the bottom to the top, how that's different from position to position. Your breath has a shape in your body, depending on the shape your body has. And these patterns or shapes of our breath can be consciously felt and utilized so that you can breathe with even more customization, even more personal tailoring to your own body and your own practice. Still exploring the side bends and breathing. And as well, we're looking to be on a certain kind of blurry line or soft edge of being at ease and relaxed in our bodies and finding the end range of movements or finding when a stress response may start to occur. So we use this practice to find those kind of little bit blurry lines, and then we explore around those edges, working with that base of relaxation, of kindness to the body, respect, admiration for the body, and appreciation. Let's come back into the center. Reach through your spine. So it's a small movement, right? But roll up through your vertebrae, draw up through your spine, and just twist to the right. Gentle twist. And we'll do the same with twists as we did with side bends. So a little here, a little there, moving from side to side. You may want to inhale towards your center and exhale towards your twist. Feel the shape of the body, the shape of the breath. And how can you start to breathe so that it's more suited to that shape, right? How does the breath fit in the most comfortable and relaxing way to fill up in the places that are most open and to contract and squeeze the breath out in the places that are most closed. Taking about 30 more seconds to explore. Eyes closed if you prefer. Let's come into one last twist. And back to your center position, facing forward. Hands on the lap and hands to the heart center. Palms connected. And with this awareness of body, breath, and attention, acknowledging the transformation which is possible through attention and through conscious efforts, mindful conscious efforts, extending that feeling and that vibration not only through this physical body, send it out or in, as we could also say, to the universe, to all that exists. Welcome all that exists as part of one being, oneself. And just like our own bodies and breaths, explore. And if something causes stress or undue pain, we know that there's a blurry line there, right? There's a lesson, and we can back a little off and work with it. Or as we said earlier, if we can't consciously work with it right now, maybe it's too much to process, we can put it down, work on ourselves at the source of ourself, and then the way we approach everything is becoming more and more refined and more self-fulfilled, right? Self-fulfillment means this moment and how you are is the most important factor. And eventually it can be the one factor. In the meantime, in how we interact and relate with all of the parts of our life, remember, it's the main factor to be self-fulfilled by this moment. How am I? How am I conducting? How am I looking? Let's connect it to the whole universe in that direction, that someday we will be totally free of any kind of thing that can restrict that feeling, restrict that self-fulfillment. Taking a deep breath in for Om. Relaxing the hands, opening the eyes. Let's transition to hands and knees. Okay, let's play a little bit kind of cat and dog. Yeah, there's too many cats and dogs in yogas maybe. So let's play, take one hand or one knee or one anything or two anythings away from the ground and push through the other points slowly and with breathing. So we can imagine our four limbs, our arms and legs. We're kind of making a little game to be like a pillar. I want all the weight and all the foundation to go more into one part. And after you've done that a little bit with each arm and leg, at least twice, let's say, let's inhale to cow and cat. We're equally pushing through all 4 points now, where there's a sense of balance in the way that you do it, let's say. And inhale, lift the head, lift the tail. Pull the shoulders back. And exhale, round the back, push down, pull the belly up, push the back up to the ceiling. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, drop the belly. And exhale, back, pushing up. Inhale. And exhale. Let's go right into down dog with an inhale, lift your knees. Take a small step back. Allow your head to hang down and keep breathing. You're welcome to take gentle pedals, alternate bending of the knee, one leg pushing more straight, other knee bending more deeply. Or you're welcome to stay with arms and legs relatively stationary and just gently stretch and reach through all parts, your arms, legs, and spine, as we do when we come into holding down dog. Think of the pose as something like you have a radio antenna and you can pick up signals in your body, but you need it to be very still. You need to get rid of all the confusing background static and other random signals and stuff, right? So to really tune in, the more calm and the more steady you can be, the more there is to observe and glean out of your practice. In this aspect, how we're focusing now. Take the last few breaths holding here. And with the exhalation, let's bend our knees halfway. Inhale, small little steps, walking, coming to the front with our feet together. And take another exhale for a moment. And then inhale, reach forward to flat back. Reach through your spine. Use your hands if you'd like to push your legs or maybe your thighs, rolling in and pushing back. Get the feeling that you're kind of opening. You know, one of my first yoga teachers, he has to say the butt blossom, yeah, your flower. So try to think of the tail lifting, the butt expanding, and the heart reaching to the front. A little bit of internal rotation of our hips. Keeping those actions slightly. Exhale, fold down again. Now, if your chest and legs are far apart, bend your knees when you come down. If they're straight and they're close, you can maybe gently lean forward more with straight legs. You can do it with bent legs too. It won't make as big of a difference in the stretch, but it does make a difference. You can still feel your toes activate, a little bit more stretch in the calf muscles maybe. And if our legs are straight, we're just continuing that chain all the way up through the back of the legs and into the stretch of the back. Let's exhale and soften from this pose. Lean back and bend your knees and look down on the floor in front of you, almost like we're going to go to chair pose. We're trying to squat down a bit, but let's keep fingertips on the ground here. Feel the footprint of both feet. And now let's put the weight in the right foot and inhale, left leg as far back as you can to the lunge. Drop down slightly through your hips. The knee might touch the floor, but I don't want you to be heavy on your knee. Keep lifting through your chest and your chin and feel that stretch through the front of the left thigh, left hip. Take another inhale and exhale, push down and then step forward when it feels natural to slide or sneak your left foot underneath. When you're ready, inhale and take your right leg straight back, drop through the hips, lift through the heart and the chin. Then exhale, push down and step back to the front. Left leg, inhale. Forward, exhale. Right leg, inhale. And together, exhale. Now, if this is really slow for you, we're trying to match the breathing and the movement, right? You can go a little faster than this, it's fine, but try to slow it down as much as you can. Let's go for another 1 to 2 minutes. Continue this vinyasa, exhaling to step forward, rounding slightly. You might want to bring your forehead to your knees. Then inhale, soften, step back, drop the hips, and lift through the heart. Keep going. A few more times, keep your pace. Finishing our last round, one more on each side. And exhale, stepping back together. Now, I want you to try to squat all the way down to sitting on the floor. So either you can use your hands for support back behind you, or maybe if you can squat low enough, take the hands forward and then gently roll back. We're sitting. Let's hold the left leg, get close to the body, and lift the chest as much as you can as you lean forward again, but try to keep the other foot off the ground, right? I'm going to lean forward, chest up, but still keep the feet up. Now let's exhale, right leg extending. Inhale, switch your hands and your legs. Exhale, left leg extending. Inhale, bend and switch your hands. Now when we extend the leg, try to keep the knee a little bit in toward the midline. Try to imagine that internal rotation happening through the thigh when you extend. So this big toe is very close to your midline, let's say. Then inhale, bend. And exhale, extend. Let's continue like this, find your pace. It's okay if a leg doesn't fully extend in this position. Just come to that soft edge again. Exhale, extend until you feel the resistance and kind of gently massage on that edge with your own body's mechanics and movements. One more time. Good. And let's come to cross legs now. Lean your body weight forward and place your hands just a bit in front of your hips. So what I want to do is exhale, lean, and pushing through our knuckles, elevate the hips off of the ground. And let's inhale, sit back, change the cross of your legs. Exhale, lean forward and lift. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going, few more. You're welcome to take an option to lift one front foot. So your leg, which is in front, can lift at the same time. The last few rounds, option to lift both feet. Last two. Okay, and now take that similar action. You can make it easier by rolling and placing the hands forward, or you can keep the hands mid-leg, mid-thigh, and we try to go back to our vinyasa. All right, so harder a little bit. We have our arms close, push and step back, or roll forward. When you come back, come into plank, chaturanga, low push-up. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale, downward dog. I'm taking a few breaths here. Feel with your antenna. Feel all the energy and sensation of this particular moment in your body. Now making sure we have some space in front of us to lay down onto our belly and coming towards Shalabhasana, locust pose. Fully lay out. Use your hands with your fingers turned in. And you may want to extend and lift, kind of pulling your rib cage slightly more forward. To breathe here. Feel how you can engage and move through the abdominal muscles to create support for your spine. Gently lower down to your low ribs. Focus through the length now, reaching forward through our spine, through our heart, through the back of our neck, elongated. And take the hands back and just lightly rest onto the floor here. Shoulders are still drawing away from the ground, so we're not letting our shoulders hang heavy. Start to engage more of your back to draw your arms up from the shoulder head and together with the shoulder blades. Slow the breathing down. Float the arms up to the sides like big wings. Open your arms. Breathe and hold. If you really get challenged at an edge, especially with endurance or sensation from the hold, like a long hold in the pose is starting to get too intense feeling. If it does really get there, take a break, come back in, right? Join back to where we were. Sometimes we still might be going with the same exercise. Now, last bit, try to rotate the shoulders back, lift the heart more upwards while keeping length. Don't jam the neck or the low back, but try to curl your spine to lift the heart space, roll the shoulders back and look up. Feel the breath through the two nostrils. And finally, exhale to relax. Rest your head onto your arms or hands or any other position that you like with your head and your arms. And let's go to the opposite position a little bit here. For our arms, we're going to cross in front of our chest now. So we'll do both. You can do either side first, one arm in front of the other. Press through the arms to help get them out to the sides. Almost under the chest really is what we're aiming at, but anywhere close as you can. Take a few deep, full breaths. Now I really want you to find that volume and shape of your lungs here. Where should it be more open? Right? Definitely not on the chest side. So fill and feel into the back side of your lungs, the back side of your respiratory system, and even all the other organs and parts and so on. And once you've taken a really full breath, exhale your chin into your bicep and let everything go. Even though you already let everything go, exhale and let everything go again. Now remember which arm you have in front. Let's come back up. Take the arms back out, walking out. And one more time. Lift the arms and the upper body away from the floor. And this time, let's see if we can get the hands onto our own pants, okay? Or your thigh or buttocks. Or if you have the flexibility, you can come down and grab your fingers interlaced. Make sure this is something easy to do standing before you do it here, right? That you can extend your arms while we come into this back bend, okay? And the knuckles pushing back, still squeezing between the arms. And as we did the last round, gently try to curl up through your spine. Lift your heart, lift your chin. You feel any pinching pain or too much pressure in your lower back, ease it down a little bit and focus on length more than height. And over practice, over time, we'll open its space in our vertebrae and strengthen the muscles around so that we keep more safe alignment, healthy pressures in the body. Okay, which arm was in front? The other arm in front now, coming back to this dragonfly, or still not really settled on a regular name for this pose, personally. Sometimes I call it broken man pose. And let's exhale the chin in and let it all go. And lifting back up. Place the hands close to the shoulders and chest. Push back up onto our hands and knees. Now we'll come to why I asked you to get some cushions and to have some wall space available. If you don't have those things, what we're doing, we've done in many of the other classes, is a kneeling lunge. Okay, so it's also fine to work the kneeling lunge as we do on the mat with no props or support, unless you do need something again. Also for the knee cushioning is also can be a thing here. If you do have the wall space, or maybe even some furniture and things, right? Really what we just need is a vertical surface. Ideally that the floor goes up directly to like 90 degrees coming together, right? And we need to have space to walk ourselves back to that and place our foot up that surface, right? So the knee as close as we can, the leg vertically going straight up. And then I position on my kneeling lunge. I want to make sure that I'm centered. I'm not leaning out to the side. My foot is up against the wall. And if I was going to try to stand up, if I could get all the way against the wall, my foot would be right outside of my hip. Not everybody has the flexibility to do that, but just as an alignment indicator, if I could go all the way back, my foot is going to be right next to my hip. And we'll have two positions that you can practice now with this exercise. One will be against the wall or the window, and we're stretching really much on our quadriceps, right? Because our knee is still bent. And the other position will be to crawl forward, like our front leg coming out. Try to keep that evenness, alignment, and drop through the pelvis as you lift through the heart. And very nicely, you're going to feel, wow, what a stretch. Okay, so take it easy, breathe. Use the deepening of your breath. Allow your pelvis to sink forward and down. And if you feel good, lift through the heart. Try to bring the head towards the wall. And exhaling, bring the hands down to the ground. And it's not always necessary, but it's kind of like a style of practice, let's say, right? You can go right into the next thing, or you can come out of this one and just take like a repoise, a little moment to kind of check in. I'm still in the pose, let's say, but I'm like out of the deepness of it. And I want to feel what's feeling, right? What's releasing, what's changing. Listening to the echo, let's say. Let's say. I'm saying let's say a lot today. Switch sides when you're ready. I also tend to be a big fan of saying seemingly, right? Because sure does seem to be like what's happening, but are we really sure? Well, in one sense, yes, but in another sense, absolutely not. Right? This could all be something totally different than what we think it is. But yoga is to help us with that too, right? It's not about thinking what it is, it's about what it is. So seemingly it's this. The reality is containing what it seems like. And the reality is much more than what it seems. About 1 more minute to finish these exercises using the wall. And remember, we're not only trying to like do a symmetry, the two sides of our body with equal time and intensity, because they're not necessarily already equal, right? Sometimes you may want to do a little bit more on the tight side in terms of stretching and strengthening. And of course, don't forget the value of the poses that work both sides at the same time. Okay, let's come out from the wall as you're finishing and just take child's pose for a moment. You're also welcome to just sit in Vajrasana, so either upright or forehead on the floor with the legs folded. And now let's exhale, open our eyes, place the hands just behind the knees. Same as earlier, try to press. And this time we're going to move forward the cross legs. Instead of going back, lift, step, or swing forward the cross leg sitting. Now let's take the left leg straight and draw the right foot in towards the hip. Keep your left leg active so your toes are pointing up. Sit tall through your body. Drop down the weight through the sit bones. Let's take an inhale, sweep up through the arms. And turning toward your left leg, exhale, fold. Move as if eventually your forehead can rest onto your shin. If you're fully onto your leg, you can move a little bit more to the side. And slowly coming up. Grab your right big toe with the peace fingers, index and middle finger. And now try to find that you can draw your leg up close, maybe even round your back a little bit first. And then open the leg back. We're not trying to sit totally straight and tall when we do this kind of leg back action. We need to have some flexion through the spine. And we come to the bow pulling pose. Okay? If the holding the toe is too painful, you can hold the whole foot. And if it's possible, our left hand will also be somewhere along our left leg. So ideally grabbing that big toe as well, or foot. Right, and then holding anywhere that you can hold as far forward, lifting and pulling back. Keeping the back rounded. Breathing. Good to go deep on the exhale here because it's already contracting down here, right? Space is closing together. So we can get a little bit more of that stuff stuck in the bottom out. Now let go of the left leg and keep working with the right leg. You might stay completely stable on your hips, but I want you to explore rolling out to the right. Now, if you're quite open, you could probably come all the way down to the leg on the ground. If it's close, but maybe not close enough, you could try placing some cushions there. We want to see if we can kind of actually sit more onto just our right hip and the back of the right thigh. And then using the pressure from our hands, pushing straight back through this foot, keeping the ankle flexed as well. Lift and turn your chest to the left. And relaxing back to the center. And then we'll look at two other possibilities. Okay, so you can do the same again as you had just done. If you can get fully down without the cushions, and you can try with the cushions as well, but it probably won't be as far yet. It won't reach yet, right? See if we can get the foot onto the back of the arm. You could do that here, actually. It's a little easier, right? Before we lean back. Shift the foot to the arm, lean back to the cushions of the floor. And now we can take this left leg bent and we get this iconic pose where we take Dhyana Mudra with our other hand. And final add-on, little detail more, is the right arm can be in a bind actually. Although this is quite deep range of motion, and the hip and the shoulder need to be very flexible, right? So I come everything into position and I see if I can sneak my right arm back there behind the leg. If that's possible, I can take the left arm behind and bind. And as the first version, lifting the chest and looking up to the left. Let's release. Take the legs, right leg straight, left leg bent, placing the foot to the inner thigh for Janu Sirsasana. Inhale, lift through the heart. And exhale, fold forward over your leg, forehead to shin, or if you're past that level of flexibility, you can go outside the leg to the right side. Try to keep all the foundation and base still as it is, centered, even. And lifting up. And bow pulling pose. Grab the big toe. Grab the other big toe or leg. Keeping your weight centered. Pull your left foot back towards your left ear. The next variation, either setting the foot onto the arm first or just holding, maybe using cushions or the floor, lean back toward your left leg. And from there, you can explore the variations as I had explained on the first side. Turning and lifting the chest to the right in the final variations. Gently release. And now bend both knees, both feet together. Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. engage to lift through the core, open the hips, engage the glutes to open the hips. Once you're as tall as you can be, slowly descend forward. Lean through the groin. Walk the hands out as you need. And let the head finally down when everything else is down as far as it can go. And let's go for 3 more of our deepest breaths here. And from here, we'll go to concluding our practice. So you can either go directly to laying down in Shavasana, or you may like to stay seated for some or all of the relaxation time in meditation posture. And feeling that release of tension, how we can erase or reduce the patterns of tension in our bodies. Hand in hand with relaxation and feeling that release of tension is feeling the more open connection of all. That sense of wellness, that sense of being in the right place and time for this self body, this body mind system. So either laying or sitting still, be as conscious as you can be to every experience within. And observing the whole field of the body-mind system from a place of serenity and calmness, a sense of curiosity and interest. And with a sense of ease, a sense of total surrender. as our minds opens in that space of stillness, whatever arises in thoughts or feeling or emotion, even if it's disturbing, maybe something that's agitated or difficult thing that you've had to deal with in some way or form, allow that form to be part of this space of calm, mindful self-awareness. Don't try to push anything out. When it comes up, acknowledge it. Know where it is. Where is it? And of course, I don't mean necessarily exactly physically where it is. Just in the web of thoughts, where is that form of thought? And what is it linked with? What other thoughts? Something like this description used to look for how we store and retrieve different experiences in our memory. And if you get more focus on where and how that thought form arises, allow it to be there, you then have the opportunity and chance to build new connections, to change contextually the meaning and purpose of that form or that feeling. In the power of your mind, you can transform the darkest, deepest, most, let's not use more words, but difficult things, and transform them into beautiful possibilities for your self understanding and even for your purpose in life action. If it's nothing so direct, we can transform it back to the energy itself and use this energy in the way that serves and suits, that brings about harmony and wellness in the self. All of us are energy magicians, alchemists. We can transform our experiences and energies into the way that serves the moment. Connect the hands together to the heart. Thank you for joining the class. Wish best in your journey, your moment to moment experience. And may we all do best for all, right? Growing our awareness and the harmony within our consciousness, within our experience. See you in the next class.